So in reality, all the problems you face in remote work usually are not related to remote work. They're related to management of digital knowledge workers. So you have a lot of smart people in a complex setup where it's sometimes not clear what we should be doing, or it changes every 2 months, and it's sometimes very hectic. It's sometimes you hire new people really quickly, and it's just not clear always who leads what decision should be made, what do we want to get out of this, blah, blah, blah. All of that isn't a problem with remote work. This is a problem with managing digital knowledge workers. The unfortunate reality is when you in person, you just have a quick meeting, you discuss each other. Maybe one person gets very, I don't know, authoritative or emotional or aggressive, and suddenly like this is solved maybe through magic. You can patch a lot of problems you have in your companies with more meetings. Ad hoc meetings, quickly discuss something. You can patch your process problems doing that. In a remote team, you can't do more and more meetings. Like meetings are really, really exhausting over video call. They might just disrupt people completely because they work, like they have to pay attention for the kids right now. You can't just jump on a call sometimes. You can't do this in a remote team. So all of these problems now become like 10 times bigger for you. So what can you do? Again, structure, like different between the problem and the person, okay? Or a different way to see this is like a person and the context is the outcome, okay? So your job as a manager is to improve the context. Context can mean, what does the company actually want as a goal? So that's just like priorities in a way, okay? Who makes decisions? And this is not like a binary answer. It's not like this person makes the decisions. If that's your answer, then you have a problem because this person will hate the next 3 months because everybody will ping them all the time. In reality, you have almost like a decision layering where you have different decisions should be done by different people. You don't need the CEO of your company to decide the color of a button, like you have decision layering, but it needs to be clear who has authority on over what decisions and who can basically have a handbrake. So like, okay, this team here makes these decisions. In that team, everybody's kind of equal, but this person in the end will decide, okay? And then above, you have this other person who leads all of these different teams who will just trust this person, but has a handbrake, So you basically can say, this is what we are planning, give us your feedback, great, we will change this, and they will trust them. But maybe at some point they're like, hey, no, you can't do this, handbrake, I just override you, and like, listen to me, we need to do that differently. Sure. Consider this like, think of it as a handbrake, think of this like an emergency, like, no, we shouldn't do this. And otherwise structure your process in a way that these people and these teams can work autonomously as much as you can, because that removes meetings. So we're now talking about priorities, decision-making, and these are all management basics, and most of you guys have this better under control than I have, I guess. But these are like the things that in remote teams you feel instantly. Another angle here is weekly one-on-ones with your reports. Figure out what problems they have with other people, figure out the problems they have at home, figure out additional stress terrain, and like get an understanding about that, so the human side of this. Another angle here is just consider if there is a way to approach those discussions differently. So one thing we discussed before, because in a way, if your team is motivated, they want to come up with a good solution. And the reason they have the conflict is not because all of them are lazy. The reason the conflict they have is because they're all passionate about the problem. That's the situation you want to be in. So reduce it back to the problem. Like, for example, we discussed before collaborative documents around complex problems, because usually there is not one right answer and one person has the perfect answer. Usually that's a complex, nuanced problem. Deconstruct it, like have like a document about it. See if you can split the problems into sub-problems that can be solved differently. Okay. Additionally, things that you can consider if a lot of people have different ideas how to solve a problem. Have an online whiteboarding session. Use a tool like Miro or Mural. That those are written miro.com or mural.co. Miro or Mural. Use one of those tools and have an online whiteboarding sessions. Usually you do them quite straightforward. You just say, what is the problem that our users currently face? Like, what are the different problems we have? What are the problems the user face? Session number one, like post-its. Everybody has post-its. You cluster them into groups. Session number two is what solutions and ideas can we come up with? Again, post-its. Everybody writes post-its. You cluster them into groups. And you try afterwards, ideally you have at that point a clear, like, okay, these are the big topics, you know, like, and if not, then try to have voting on each of them. Like everybody adds a star to the ones they like the most, you know. It's still, in the end, the team leads decision what should be done. But this is a way how you can get everybody on the same page, get all the information out and all this kind of stuff. Highly recommend doing something like that. There's multiple other techniques, you know, but I would focus on these kind of stuff. So like priority, decision making, the human